Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Think Tank Sports. Think Tank Sports, where we think and you listen. Check us out on the socials, Facebook, Twitter, and the IG, and listen to us on Anchor or wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, now you can see us live as we do it, or well, not live. I guess it's live when you're watching it. It's
Recorded
live
live
when
to
we're
tape.
recording it. Yes,
Live
there
to
we
tape.
go. Live to
Yes.
tape for those of you old folks out there who know what the heck we're talking about, 1970s, 1980s kind of stuff.
It's a Kurt
We're
Minahan reference to
on,
the Boston area.
there it
But
is.
anyway, sorry.
We are on YouTube. So check us out on YouTube. We've been posting, got a couple of podcasts up there. We'll continue to do that. You may see we're going to try to do some shorter, do some clips, some highlights, maybe do some, I don't want to say hot takes because I feel like a lot of people have used that term, but we'll throw our opinion out there. How about that? And some short segments here and there
Sure.
as Mike and I see fit. So we're expanding the Think Tank Sports universe once again. We figured after 3 years, we probably should get on YouTube.
We are crawling at a snail's pace, buddy, but we're setting the pace
Yes.
for safety for sure.
Yes. Yes, we are. And setting the pace for safety on the other side of this imaginary little wall here that you see is my good friend Mike. And Mike, how the heck are you?
Good, Dave. Doing real good. How can I be unhappy with the way the New York Giants are playing?
Oh my
But
gosh.
we'll get into that for sure. This week, week 7 in the NFL, not one for the time capsule or for the Chamber of Commerce to write home about, but still, they did play games. The teams that were on a bye were more impressive than the teams that played. I know your Bills were off, Minnesota, the Rams, and the Vikings, the Eagles. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah.
But let's go all the way back to last Thursday in the Wayback Machine, Dave,
Oh, geez. Yeah.
and the New Orleans Saints and the who did
Arizona
they? Arizona
Cardinals,
Cardinals played one of the more entertaining games of the week, as
a
it turned
barn
out.
burner, as we used to
Yeah,
call it.
42-34 Arizona, featuring, imagine this, Dave, Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury arguing with each other at the end of the first half.
Yes.
And who's the peacemaker? Not a
Yeah.
longtime veteran, not Zach Ertz or somebody like that. DeAndre Hopkins, of all
Yep.
people.
First
Not
time back
known.
after his 6 game suspension. Got me a nice chunk of change in fantasy after I was able to put him in my lineup this week. 10 catches for 100 yards. Anyways, moving on.
Nobody cares about your fantasy team, Dave.
Mm,
We did not see Jameis Winston return into this game, so we got
no.
the Red
perhaps
Rifle, Andy
perhaps we should
Dalton.
have.
Yeah. We got the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton, and the obligatory Taysom Hill
Yeah.
offense, and just wasn't enough as the Cardinals, really take control in the second half and put this game away, and actually played with a lead. I think for the first time this year, from what I was reading. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, I mean, interesting for a Thursday night game. Probably the first one on Thursday night that they've had that's been fairly competitive as well. What
Oh,
do you
yeah.
think of What do you think of Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit together? Do you have an opinion? Have you heard
Uh,
much of it?
yeah. I mean, I've heard little bits and pieces. I mean, Herb Street, he's very solid. Um, he knows what's going on and, he's paid attention. And Al Michaels, he certainly is fine. I just
You
think they're,
see, they tried to cancel Al Michaels after this, by the way.
yeah. And you mean Al Michaels probably wanted to cancel it. He can't take going to these crazy, crazy places with bad games, although this one wasn't on
No,
Thursday nights. But I just
no,
think,
I'm sorry. He made a reference to Taylor Swift's new album coming out, and I guess
oh,
she appeared some point during the broadcast. I don't remember that. And then he was saying his granddaughters are excited; they're over the moon, and the feminazis got fired up on Twitter
oh
and
boy.
said, "Oh, what about boys? Boys can't like Taylor Swift." And it's like, is Al Michaels supposed to make up that he has grandsons or whatever, or that his grandsons are excited? They're just not. I mean, Taylor Swift's fans are
they're,
teenage
they're
girls.
just not.
They're just not.
Tell it
But
like it
anyway,
is, Al.
yeah.
But yeah, I think they
Back to
just back to the football. I think they're just in a bad spot because for the most part, these Thursday games are awful.
Yeah.
And they're doing the best they can with what they have. So how
Yeah,
about that?
that's all they can do. They can only announce the games that are on their schedule. Kyler Murray didn't really throw a lot. 20 for 29, 204 yards and a touch. They ran the ball 29 times for 137 yards and 2 touchdowns. So, Arizona relying on defense and ball control and trying to. And I said it in previous podcasts, Dave. If Kyler Murray is going to run around and be superhuman and be the human joystick that we've seen him be, that's not where the Cardinals want to play.
No.
That's great that he has that, but that's not what they're looking for. And in this division they're in, they need every win they can get. And the Saints, Dave, do you have an idea what kind of team the Saints are? Are they a good, bad team? Are they a bad, good team? Are they frisky? Are they just bad? I really, week to week, can't tell. And part of that's the uncertainty at the quarterback position. But
Yep.
I thought their defense was going to be good coming into the season. That hasn't played out at all.
Nope.
But they're always on the field. What do you think about the Saints?
They are who we thought they were. No, they are not who we thought
Okay,
they were. No, this team is just lost. I mean, 2-5. We mock Dalton. He did throw for 361 yards and 4 touchdowns, but in true Jameis Winston fashion, threw 3 interceptions, including 2 of them on back-to-back possessions that got returned for touchdowns. Now, one of them wasn't his fault. The other one was his fault. Yeah, they should be able to with Kamara,
Olave,
and Ingram,
Thomas,
and
all those guys. They have names.
I mean, we've said this. We believe they have talent.
Right.
But yeah, I think the defense is the struggle part, and yeah, I don't have answers for them. They're 2-5, but they're not. 2-5 doesn't put them in a terrible spot because the NFC is not all that good.
Right. No, they're certainly still in contention, and there's time for them to figure it out. But I just don't see what they're going to figure out. But they're going to make some changes to figure something out.
They're one game back of first place in their division at 2-5.
Right. Well, that's because their division sucks, and
right.
We can go right there next with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Dave.
Yeah, they're going back to the Tampa Bay Yuccaneers.
Oh my goodness.
And boy, if they're the baddest team, without a doubt, hands down. I was saying this to I think one of my kids. Hands down, the worst team in the NFL through 6 weeks was the Carolina Panthers, and there's no way in heckfire that you thought they were going to come out and do anything to demonstrate that they were going to do any kind of good against a Tampa Bay team that's been struggling. You figure Tampa Bay is going to come out and it's going to be a get right game for them. No, it was not a get right game for them. It was a get wrong game for them. If you want to go there, Carolina wins 21-3, Mike, and 27 carries for 173 yards against this vaunted, if you will, Tampa defense. And, Foreman goes for 118, Hubbard for 63. That's stunning. And PJ Walker, 16 of 22 for 177 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, I know they changed coaches, and there's always that potential that
McCaffrey got traded away.
Right, McCaffrey got traded, so you get kind of a fresh start, if you will. But you don't usually see this kind of thing from a team that was so bad.
Well, I mean, they built their offensive line in the offseason thinking they were going to run the ball and protect Baker or Donaldson or whoever,
or PJ Walker.
Yeah, or PJ Walker. And, Foreman and Chuba Hubbard had very solid NCAA careers and, have talent, obviously. So to see them run the ball consistently, I'm not surprised. But like you said, on that vaunted defense for the Buccaneers, what's more startling is Tampa Bay's offense and just their inability to do anything. Brady goes 32 for 49 for 290, no touches, no interceptions. They ran the ball 16 times for 46 yards, Dave, 2.9 average.
Yeah.
Mike, now granted, first quarter, Mike Evans drops just a wide open pass down the right sideline. They did one of those sports science things. He was 10.9 yards away from anybody. Hit him in a bad spot, as my dad would say. Hit him right in the hands. Bounced it twice.
Bad spot.
Right. And and you say, oh, that's one play. That's silly that they lost the game on that play. But Carolina could easily be a team that quits because of all the changes and all the negativity around them. Mm-hmm. They go down early. You make a play on defense, and next thing you got them where you want them. But that just didn't happen. To see Mike Evans do something like that was startling. He ends up with 9 catches for 96 yards. But I don't know what are the Buccaneers going to do, Dave, to get right. They're not going to get younger. They're not going to get faster on offense. I mean, they seem so slow and methodical all of a sudden on offense, and it's jarring. I don't think Gronk's coming back, and I don't know if that would help at this point. Antonio Brown certainly not coming back. I guess I wouldn't be surprised if Odell ended up down there.
Oh, geez.
That's the kind of player they seem to collect. Of course, I think the Giants could use him, but we'll get to that when we get to the Giants.
Yeah. I saw a meme today of Tom Brady, and it was Tom Brady right now, and he's doing this, and it's basically his head on Antonio Brown's body at the Jets game last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, clearly he should not have come back. You should not have come back. Star Wars reference.
Star Wars.
There we go.
Yeah. Wow, nice.
Yeah, I think it's just a struggle. I don't know there's anything they can do. They have all their players, they're not, they're not suffering here. The challenge
Arians isn't coming back. I don't think he's
nope. They have short turnaround with the Thursday night game against the Ravens. And, then we'll see. Then they'll have a little bit of time to, try and figure some stuff out. But I don't see it getting any better. Their only positive is that they're in this weak division.
Can you imagine, just to wrap up this game real quick, that the Panthers are going to have Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield on the bench while PJ Walker's taking snaps? I mean, that's really where they are right now. Why wouldn't you play PJ Walker? He's at least athletic, XFL star. Where's the next one you want to go to? But the only other game that was close on the scoreboard besides their Giants, or my Giants, is the Ravens-Browns. The old AFC North matchup, 23-20. Ravens prevail. Once again, Lamar tries to throw it away, and the second half in Cleveland just wouldn't take it. This piece of trash organization, Cleveland Browns. I couldn't be lower on an organization.
And you've already been pretty low on them, even when they were going and winning games in the playoffs.
Oh, right. What they did with Deshaun Watson and how they manipulated his contract just makes me vomit. But
yeah, wait till he comes back in week 11 against the Texans.
Yeah. I can't even.
I know.
Can't even go there.
So you mentioned Lamar Jackson, like 9 of 16, 120 yards.
That's a good quarter. What did he do the rest of the game?
That was the whole game.
That was the whole game.
Yep,
folks.
That's slightly better than Justin Fields' average numbers. And he was sacked 3 times. Really, just
not
paltry. That's the term I come up with.
Yeah, but they do run the ball effectively. 44 attempts for 160 yards, 3.6 average, 2 touchdowns, and get out of there with a win. Cleveland just kind of, I've seen enough of Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. I know they don't have another option until Deshaun comes back, really. So it is what it is. But they've really fallen off since the aforementioned playoff appearance by them. So,
yeah.
Oh, where do you want to go next, buddy?
I think the other, you said some of the other games, weren't close, but the other big stunner, I think we have to go to Washington
Okay.
and talk about a Commanders team that last time we talked, we thought that they're going nowhere. There's nothing
Yeah.
exciting. They're going to Taylor Heineke and, Carson Wentz is hurt and all this other nonsense. And the wounded, stinky Packers come in and Washington ends up winning this game. I mean, this is stunning to see Green Bay and Tampa Bay both losing to lesser teams. I think you have to say to lesser teams.
Well, think about Green Bay's last 3 weeks: lose to the Giants in London, lose to the Jets, and now lose to the Commanders. I'm sure when they looked at the schedule and did the Francesa and Mad Dog win, lose. These were all wins, in their minds. So
that's a win.
That's a win.
But no, 232 total yards.
That's not going to do it
For Green Bay.
NFL. Yeah.
12 carries for 38 yards, a 3.2 yards per rush, 9 penalties, lost a fumble, only had the ball for 22 minutes, Mike. 22 minutes.
So let me ask you this philosophically.
0 for 6 on third down.
Okay. Great. Or not great. They built this team for ball control, run first, play action pass, protect Jordan Love if he's our quarterback or a veteran we bring in, not knowing what they were going to do with Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
They bring Aaron Rodgers back for a couple of years, which is great, but they're not calling plays based on their talent pool. Nope. Their talent pool is 2 tight ends, run the ball, and then let Rodgers make some magic happen, when you need to, when you get behind the sticks and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
What if I can see that and you can see that, why can't the Green Bay Packers front office and coaching staff see that? Arrogance, ignorance, or a little bit of both?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be a little bit of both. But Matt LaFleur, I mean, he's still a young coach, but he's coached enough seasons where you would think he'd be able to make some adjustments, or somebody would say something about making adjustments to him, suggesting something, anything.
Right.
But yeah, this team stinks. And so now they have this upcoming game Sunday night in Buffalo, and turns out Aaron Rodgers is a double-digit underdog for the first time in his career. We've seen the Bills. Now they're coming off of a bye week, but you have to believe Green Bay is going to get slaughtered in this game.
You would think, but
I mean, you don't know, but so then they're at 3-5.
So the way the NFL usually works is one team's terrible and the other team's really good. You get a big line, but then that team that's quote unquote terrible, it gets a little feisty in that game. That's just the way it seems it goes lately. Like with the Bears and the Patriots. Before last night, we thought the Bears were absolutely terrible and the Patriots were on a roll, and Bailey Zappi and all that stuff. And it was a tale of two different teams. I'm afraid that's going to happen, but I think your Bills are on a different level. They're beyond that kind of let down, if you will. And I agree, they should crush Green Bay. If you have 2 minutes to kill, folks, go to YouTube or your Google machine and watch the last play of this game, where Green Bay did the 97 laterals to get to the try and get a game-winning score. And it almost worked, Dave. Back and forth across the field. They got down to like the 25, 30-yard line. And Rodgers makes a pass, borderline forward, but to, a big old lineman, and he just yard sales it. He misses everything. His arms cross, one leg's broken, the other one's got gravy pouring out of it. He's like, his helmet's on one end of the field, the sneakers are over here, and the ball goes out of bounds and the game ends. But the enduring photo from that is Rodgers, who got hit as he was throwing the ball across the field, just laying there like just dead. not physically, he didn't get physically hurt, but he just looked like
Yeah.
I really came back from this. I really went
Yeah.
to the
This
Amazon and did everything I did in the off season.
for
And this
that.
is the best. Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
So now you have the Commanders, Dave, all of a sudden frisky again, the team that we all thought was dead. So good for them for the win. I didn't like it as a Giant fan because I don't want anyone in the NFC East to win but us.
No.
But um, you know,
But
Tampa,
Green Bay is more competition, you would think, than
yes,
Washington. And so with the Giants
yes. At
already
this point,
beating
that's a good
Green
point.
Bay,
Yeah,
and then Washington beats Green Bay, the more distance between the Giants and Green Bay, the better for the Giants, I think, long term, should Green Bay
that's
decide
funny.
to win like 3 games in a row.
I
Um,
haven't shifted my mind yet to think we're a playoff contender.
yeah.
Is that like a sign of a formerly abused fan? Like you're thinking like, oh, playoff scenarios and NFC, and I'm thinking just qualify, baby.
Yeah.
I just haven't made that shift yet. I'm
Yeah.
waiting. Well, we'll get to the Jags game in a minute, but I'm just waiting for that other shooter drop for sure.
Yeah.
Uh, what else was interesting? Dak came back and
Yeah. That wasn't very interesting.
yeah, they beat the stuffing out of the
Yeah.
Lions, the
I,
Thanksgiving matchup.
I think that's the funny part, or the not funny part is the surprising part that Detroit only scored 6 points when
Okay.
they have just been able to score on everybody.
Yeah.
Big injury for Dallas coming out of that game. And I'm trying to remember um, the guy's name that got hurt and who is now gone for the year. Oh my gosh.
Offense or defense?
Defense.
I don't know.
Where the
Was
heck
it
is it?
Lawrence, their uh, running
It's,
back
no, no,
or
no, no, no.
pass rusher?
No, I can't believe I can't find this, but there was a big
I
injury
don't see anything.
To Dallas's defense.
Okay.
Um, maybe it's here in this article, but that to me that was a surprising thing. To just see that they just did not that they just did not score very many points. All right, I'm just not finding it,
No,
but
Dallas struggling. I didn't see anything, but I didn't really watch this game, so I take your word for it for sure. We'll figure out who that is. Titans and Colts only significant in the fact that the Colts are now 3-3-1 and struggling. Matt Ryan separates his shoulder. The Titans win this game, by the way, 19-10. Really, I mean, it's ho-hum. Titans come out and run the ball left, right, and middle, and play solid defense and win a football game. The Colts have decided to move on from Matt Ryan, despite his health. Either way, to the vaunted backup Sam Ellinger. Dave, where did Sam Ellinger go to college?
I was trying to think. I was going to say North Carolina, but I don't think it is because that's Sam Howell that I'm thinking of.
Yeah, Texas. He never really won the job in Texas. He was, I think, an opening day starter as a junior, but got hurt, and I don't know. He's just never blossomed. But he got a backup role here in the NFL, and they're going to see they see him in practice. They know what they think he can do. He'll at least give them some youth and exuberance, and maybe you can move around a little. I mean, Matt Ryan is definitely anchored in the backfield there for sure. Not giving a lot of support to his line, avoiding sacks and that kind of thing. So I'm just so disappointed in the Colts from an offensive line standpoint, buddy.
Yep, and we've talked about
Nelson
it a bunch,
and all those guys. You should be dominating.
You would think.
So is this the end for your old friend Frank Wright and Ballard, the general manager? Do they have to? I mean, this is a save my job move with the Ellinger switch, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the hard part for them is they've lost both games to Tennessee.
Right.
So Tennessee's ahead of them. They're only 1 game back, but
right.
Tennessee's got 2 games in hand against them. So I think that makes it challenging. They certainly could, turn things around, but you got to start with your division. And I mean, I don't really like the
They're in
Titans
trouble.
either, but they're in
Yeah.
big trouble being down with that. Mike, the Dallas player was cornerback Jordan Lewis,
Okay.
who has been a key part of their defense as the guy that got hurt. Anyways,
Okay. No, I'm glad you shared that. Thank you. Um, the Steve Gross led Jets,
oh my
Jets team
goodness,
continue to win 16-9 in an predictably ugly game with the Denver Broncos, but
yeah,
made more ugly because Russell Hustle and Bustle pulled a muscle and
yes, he
it
did.
was out for this game. And Mark Rippon's nephew, Brett Rippon, gets the start, and he looked like a young quarterback. He made some plays, he moved around, but really, every throw that was a professional throw was either way too high or too low. He just couldn't, that adrenaline, he couldn't get it all packaged up and get something done
Yep.
For the Broncos offense. Unfortunately, terrible news for the Jets. They lose Brees Hall,
Oh,
their stud running back, who was off to an amazing start for the season. I know there was their starting tackle also got hurt in this game.
yep. Gone for the
Um,
season.
also gone for the season. So uh, the Jets have, some work to do with the depth and their roster, but right now they're a fun team to watch, buddy. Garrett Wilson and the wide receiving core Barrios is
and
really,
and and Zach Wilson.
yeah, and Zach Wilson the quarterback. Garrett Wilson's the wide receiver.
Garrett Wilson, the wide receiver. Yep,
Yeah,
yep. Wilson to
I'm not.
Wilson.
I only know Zach Wilson as the MILF Hunter, so
Oh,
I
that's
wasn't
true. Yeah.
quite sure who you're referring to there. But you know, there's nobody that lit the world on fire in this game as far as stats go.
No.
But the Jets get another win,
And
5-2,
and 4-0 at home. So that's interesting.
right?
4 of their first 7 games at home. So getting right early. We'll see how the Jets go and how the season goes. As they
Yeah,
play more games on the road. Mike, the Jets did acquire James Robinson from the Jacksonville Jaguars.
great
They
pickup.
they sent
Yeah.
a 2023 conditional 6th-round pick to the Jaguars, which becomes a 5th rounder if Robinson rushes for 600 yards this season. So
He's a
that,
little undersized, but he's fast, and he won't be Brees Hall with the power and the speed, but really been a stalwart for a terrible Jags organization up
yeah,
until this point. So.
yep. And I mean, obviously, with the offensive line injury to the Jets, you have to have some concern, but they have been able to
Sure.
run the ball very effectively. You would think James Robinson's going to be able to get some yards and be helpful for the Jets.
And can catch the ball out of the backfield too.
Yep.
So
Yep. So
definitely.
that part is exciting.
Where do you want to go next, buddy?
Geez, Mike, the Sea Chickens.
The Sea Chickens.
Are you kidding me right now that if you told us after 7 games, who do you think would be in first place in the NFC West? There's no freaking way you'd say the Seattle Sea Chickens at 4-3. And that is exactly where we are, Mike. They go out to La La Land and put a whooping on the Chargers. I mean, they race out to a 17-0 lead in the first quarter. You're thinking that what is going on? And then it got interesting. It got as close as 17-14 there, but the Sea Chickens just romping and stomping, and your boy
Kenneth
Geno
Walker.
Smith.
Yep. Kenneth Walker had a huge day rushing the ball.
Yeah. 214 yards for the Sea Chickens.
Yeah, that's impressive. So there's 2 narratives going on here. The Sea Chickens over delivering and overachieving, and then the Chargers doing the exact opposite. And you got to wonder, Brandon Staley, he was like this fresh new genius coach, and he's so aggressive and all of that stuff. Well, that's not really paying off anymore. And Justin Herbert, who we anointed, for the Hall of Fame last year, really struggling. Now the guy's banged up. He hasn't had Keenan Allen all year. Mike Williams is hurt. He's got broken ribs. But everyone's playing hurt. Everyone's playing down a man. He just seems like it's just not the same as he was last year. And if he's going to have him throw 51 times a game, you better believe he should be healthy or at least protected better. Austin Eckler continues to be underused and underutilized. I say that he did have 12 catches for 96 yards.
Yeah.
But he's the running back with 9. They only ran the ball 15 times, Dave, for 53 yards.
Well, I think that's what happens when you go down 17-0 early.
That's fair. That's fair.
But they did, like
That's
you
fair.
said, they got it
That's
closer. They got it to 17-14. That's enough to be able to try and run the
Right.
ball. But their defense, Mike, again, this is, some of these teams like
They
the
lost their
Saints,
best secondary player for the year.
their
Yep.
defense just not showing up.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure that this Charger team, I am not impressed with how they're 4-3 at this point. Really boggles my mind.
Absolute
But
head scratcher.
for the Giants playing the Sea Chickens next week, I don't like that. I don't like the feeling at all going into play them with the way they're playing right now. That defense is young and fast and gets to the ball quickly. With our lack of speed, especially at receiver, or lack of talent, that scares me. But again, we'll get to that. Chiefs Niners, Dave, did not turn out to be. It was an entertaining game if you're a Chiefs fan or a Chiefs respecter. Mahomes, certainly went off in this game. On National Tight Ends Day, we get 2 of the best tight ends in the league. Now the Gronk's retired with Kittle and Kelsey, of course. But Patrick Mahomes, 23 for 54, 423 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Even got Chad Henne into the game. So, it was just Chiefs everywhere for this game. And the Niners, they're going to be better.
Yeah,
They're gonna be
yeah,
better.
for sure. It was entertaining early on, back the first
Sure.
half was fairly back and forth. And, but I think if you're a Niners fan, you did not like how easily the Chiefs were moving the ball
Right.
on them. And, that had to be a worry because you don't think about the 49ers as being able to go up and down the field the way Kansas City is. And I think that's what happened in the second half. I mean, the 49ers, I think they'd probably say if we score 23 points, we're feeling like we could probably win a lot of games that way. And Garoppolo threw for 300 yards and, Kittle is 6 for 98 with a touchdown. There were some good things there, but their defense just wasn't able to slow down Kansas City really at all outside of the very, very early on in the game.
Right. Absolutely. So the Niners will get it together. They pick up Christian McCaffrey in the middle of last week. I think that's a great pickup for them. We've seen what the Shanahan rushing offense can do with mediocre or unknown running backs like Raheem Mostert and the like. What are they going to do with a bona fide superstar McCaffrey if he can stay healthy? That's always been a big if in his soft tissue injuries. Hopefully, they can figure that out there in San Francisco. They've got the Rams this week, Dave, and then they have a bye week. So really a good time for them to, circle the wagons, get through this week, and then do some self-scouting and change a few things and come rolling out in the second half of their season. And I would not be surprised to see the Niners, standing towards the end of the NFC season in the last couple of games going to the Super Bowl. So don't count them out. Good coaching staff, good front office, good roster depth there. So they'll get it together, but they can't wait any longer. Now's the time.
No, completely.
7 weeks in.
Yep, completely agree. I think they will be there at the end. Yeah, and as long as McCaffrey stays healthy, like you say, I think that's a huge addition for that offense.
Yeah.
Mike, you want to talk about your Giants?
You don't want to talk about the Dolphins and Steelers or the Patriots and Bears at all?
Well, Patriots and Bears was interesting because um, the Bears scored 33 points,
Yeah.
and they had
The
I think
over
I
under
figured
was
out
40.
they had like 90, they somewhere's in the 90s coming into the game is in
Total.
terms of total points scored. So
Wow.
they scored, basically a third of the amount of points they had scored in their first 6 games, they scored in this game.
Oh yeah, Fields had a day that was better than the entire season combined.
Yeah.
He was 13 for 21 for 179 with a touch and an interception.
And, for Fields, we have certainly discussed how terrible he has been. What I saw that I liked from the Bears and their play calling was they moved Justin Fields around.
Yes.
They rolled him out. They got him into some situations where he can use his legs to create space and get receivers. And he did it a bunch of times.
Sure he did.
And it wasn't as wide open as we saw some of those giant rollouts, ironically, against the Bears. Maybe they learned from the Giants in that game.
It could be.
But just some really nice play calls. And Justin Fields had some nice completions. They got to move the ball down the field. I don't think they're going to be like great by any means, but
no,
some nice changes. And Mike, this Patriots team is awful.
It is. It's bad.
Awful.
How about that? We love Mac Jones. Oh, you're injured. We love Bailey Zappi. Oh, you're not as good as you thought you were in the second half of this game. All right, we'll go back to Mac Jones. I mean, it's just bad. I don't think either one of them are the long-term answer. I'd rather see Zappi play personally as a fan. But how about my boy Zappi? Did you catch this today on social media, David? He goes in, throws back-to-back touchdowns, 14 unanswered, and he's on the bench, not a care in the world, singing along to Stacy's mom in the stadium as they were playing it on the overhead musical accompaniment. And the cameras caught it, Dave, because they see everything.
So do we say that Zappi has learned from the MILF Hunter?
Yeah, maybe. We'll have to track that.
We'll have to track that down. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll get our crack Think Tank Sports sideline reporters to dig up some information there.
Dave, the New York Giants, this is a game that traditionally they've lost. I don't know, the last
6 years.
I'm 50 years old. So, 50 years they've lost this game because they
hold on. They've won 4 Super Bowls in there. Calm down. I mean, it hasn't been 46 years, okay, but not 50.
Okay, we'll give it that. So this is a good litmus test for Daboll and the attention to detail. And honestly, I saw a tired Jags team and the Giants team. While guys were winded, they seemed in much better conditioning and shape, especially for when the game came on and they were talking about relative humidity and all the sun. And I had flashbacks to your Bills Dolphins game earlier in the year, and I'm like, oh, this isn't going to end well. But it did, Dave. I mean, we won this freaking game 4 times. Saquon couldn't be smart enough to go out of bounds like 2 or 3 times. There were some bad penalties. That last minute and 10 seconds took like an hour off of my life.
Well, and did you hear Mark Schlereth going on and on about, this is taking so long. And
yes,
this is the longest 50 seconds of my life. And I forget who the other guy was that was doing the game. Oh, Joe Davis. And he was like, hey, Mark, you going to be okay over there? Like, I mean, it was humorous, but like he was taking it just a little bit too far for the, hey, you're the announcer.
An all-time line to start the game. The audio didn't work. So you heard raw noise, but you didn't hear any of the announcers. And he's like, folks, if you missed any of that first drive, it was my best work ever. And no one will ever hear it, which is too bad because the best I've ever done. It was just, so that part was funny. And I like his insights to the game. But
Yeah, I do too.
yeah,
I do too.
I mean, do you have a hot date? Is there an Uber waiting outside? Why is this killing you? But it was torture to watch. But
It
the
was.
Giants, Christian Kirk for the Jags gets tackled, catches the ball like before, makes a move. Did you see who was one of the three making the tackle, Dave? Recently signed Landon Collins,
Oh
making his
no, I did not
return
see
to the New
that.
York Giants. First time active this season, and he was one of the three guys in there.
Well, wasn't it is it Moreau, the other guy
Yes,
that they were
they
talking about because he had made some less than sparkling plays in the game. And they're like, look at
they had
who's there.
targeted. Yeah, they clearly targeted Moreau,
Yeah.
which is fine, and he made some good plays, but he also got burned a couple times. But
Yeah.
yeah, Moreau, Collins, and Holmes, Darnay Holmes were the three that dragged Kirk to the ground. That Jacksonville team is going to be very good someday soon. So I'm glad to get out of there with a tough road win and move to 6-1, Dave. I just, like I said earlier, I haven't shifted into where playoff contenders. I see these power rankings that have us listed 5th or 6th, and I'm just like, you got to be kidding me. But on the other hand, who else is going to be in there? Like we just said, in the NFC with the traditional powers down on the mat, the NFC East is the top heavy for sure, and playing all well. I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic, and that's just because I've seen this problem before with the Giants. But this Daboll coach, man, he's a cut above. I think of all the coaching hires in the last 2 years, I think Doug Peterson's a good hire for Jacksonville and where they are.
Yeah.
Other than that, I can't think of a coaching hire that I wanted to have more and I was happier about than Daboll coming to the Giants, and it's really paying off. He certainly has learned. And you got to ask yourself, why hasn't he gotten a head coaching job before this? Is it his hefty appearance? Because that does make a difference, unfortunately, to a lot of teams. Is they want him to look like Jack Del Rio with that chiseled jaw and all muscles and all of that. But of course, Andy Reid, he broke the mold for the big guys years ago.
Yeah.
So thank you, Big Red. But either way, I love the way Saquon's playing so smart, helping direct traffic. But the best thing I saw in this game, Dave, and I'll wrap it up with this, Daniel Jones grew a pair. He was yelling at receivers. He was directing the defense. He was pumping up the linemen. He got the defense going at the end. Up until then, he had that same face that Eli had, his whole career, where you wouldn't know if it was raining or slapping him in the face. He just had no idea with Eli what was happening. Daniel Jones got fired up, and he might actually be our quarterback, buddy, for the next few years. He's really taken this opportunity to flourish, and he's the perfect quarterback for Daboll because he's similar to Josh Allen in that he's mobile and can run, and they can run that RPO, and that RPO killed Jacksonville this time, and it killed the Bears a couple weeks ago, and continues to bother people that he can escape and make long runs and make plays happen, and he's not turning the ball over. Thank you. It only took 4.5 years, but he finally figured it out, it looks like. Not turning the ball over. So all that being said, love where this team is right now and excited to see, what the future holds for the rest of the season. 6 wins at this point in the season is way beyond what I thought was possible. So what do you see from the outside looking in?
Yeah, I mean, all of these things, again, we've talked for a few weeks. The coaching has made a huge difference. And we didn't even talk about the defense. The defense has just, been great. Yeah.
Kayvon Thibodeau.
Yeah, Thibodeau. Yep.
A man amongst boys. I see why he was ranked number 1 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, he ran people down a la LT in the early
Hmm.
days. And I don't say that lightly. I never compare anyone to LT on the field, and so hopefully never off the field either. But
Yeah, please no.
yeah, but I got goosebumps watching some of that highlight package and seeing him run people down. Uh, Unfortunately, Ojolari's hurt and probably won't be back for several weeks. But what a great draft pick!
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the defense has been really, really solid. And so I think that's, just another piece that the coaching staff, I think, has really helped on the offensive side of the ball, obviously. But the defense is playing well too. They're a very balanced team, right? I don't think you see one phase that's really dominating, you know,
Right,
over the other. There've been some good defensive plays, some good offensive plays, good special teams plays, very balanced, and that's why they're 6-1.
right.
And it will be
And
interesting. We've looked at the schedule, we've talked about it. They still have 2 games with the Eagles. And the Giants, they gain momentum, Mike, with every win. They gain more confidence. They're going to be a team, I think, that's going to be there as the entire season progresses.
so here's what I'm looking forward to. We got the Sea Chickens this week, bye week. Then we have the Texans, and
Yep.
then the Cowgirls, and that's the game that I'm really focused on. That'll be our first game against a true contender rival, team that's on our level record wise. And I think that that'll be a great litmus test of how the rest of the season is going to go. So we need to get healthy at wide receiver or make a move. I said earlier about Odell. Of course, I would love to see him come back. I think we need his playmaking ability and his sure-handedness.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing Slayton out there is great, and Wandell Robinson made some incredible plays for a rookie. Kadarius Toney, part of the problem is he's not healthy, but the other part of the problem is he has to stow his attitude before David will let him get on the field.
Yep.
Has all kinds of physical talent, but is not going to get the ball 15 times, as a young receiver, and needs to learn that. So we need to make some kind of move. There was some Giants parody account I saw today that had a picture of an African American gentleman at the airport in Newark, and somebody under the caption wrote, "Jerry Jeudy has just landed in New York." Oh, if that were true! If I could only hope that were true, but
Yeah.
we need a number one. We signed Galladay thinking he was number one. Mike Lindsley told us 2 years ago he was not a number one.
Yeah.
He was right. We need a number one receiver, and then all these guys can play off of him. So
Yep.
I would like to see us make a move there. What that is or what that looks like, I don't know. I haven't done the deep dive to find out who's available or what, other than knowing that Odell, because he's like on a college tour, Dave. I know you have a high school senior doing some college tours, and
Yes.
it's the same. It's like, oh, this week I'll be in Tampa, this week I'll be in New York, and
Mm-hmm.
where are they going to do? Where is he going to be brought in? But I'm happy with the Giants and where they are. So
Yeah, as well you should be, Mike. As we look ahead to this next week, you talked about, the Sea Chickens and the Giants. That is in Seattle, so that's the later 4:25 Fox game. We mentioned, of course, the Bills and Green Bay doing the Sunday night game. I don't know, Mike. I look at the schedule and it's like there seems like, and I can remember weeks that we said this, it looks like a lot of duds, and then all of a sudden we get,
right.
some really good games. But
Well, I think we said last week or offline that imagine looking at the Sea Chickens Giants game before the season started, and thinking, oh, that's going to be a big game for both teams. It's like, well, how can that be?
yeah, yeah,
But you just don't know. coming
Yeah.
into the week. So, so is there any games that, tickle your fancy there, buddy?
I
or-
mean, you mentioned one earlier, and I'm seeing this, the San Francisco at the Rams.
Yeah.
To really see which one of those teams is gonna, I think, we probably both think the 49ers, are probably gonna be, the better of the teams, but the Rams,
Yep.
they're coming off the bye, and they certainly have some talent. So that's also up against your Giants and Sea Chickens game in that 425 slot.
Cardinals Vikings can be entertaining. Both teams can score some points.
Yep.
Good wide receivers.
That might be
decent
one of the better earlier games. Yeah. I mean, Thursday night we talked about Baltimore at Tampa Bay.
If Tampa Bay was better, yeah.
No, I think you've got it there, Mike, as far as really the rest of the games are just not.
Yeah. The only team we didn't mention that should get some love is the Bengals, Dave. They're back. They're fully back. Whatever they had last year, they're back. Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow are like telekinetically connected. Is that how they say that?
Mm-hmm.
So they're playing the Browns on Monday Night Football, which is, a good old AFC North slobber knocker.
Mm-hmm.
But that look out for that team going forward. They're all the way back. I didn't think they were be totally down and out. They had a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover, even though they didn't win. So there they are. Dave, there's a new stat that people are always playing with stats, and as the geeks have run the world here, and we have the Nerd King in Miami coaching. But I find that this one's interesting to me. About following it all year. It's called the Bus Banged Up score, and it basically takes your team's injuries and factors in their algorithm, the player that's injured versus the player that's replacing them versus the player that's an average NFL player for that position.
Okay.
And gives you a score kind of 1 to 100. The higher the score, the healthier you are, and the better your replacements are doing.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So no surprise at the top of the list, the highest score is an 88.2 by the Eagles. Vikings are second, 87.7. Chiefs. So, teams that are having a good season.
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo's sixth at 81.9. But I was surprised the Giants are all the way down to 30th. And it's got to be the wide receiver core and, the linebacker injuries we've had this season.
Right. Yeah, that would make sense.
60.6. The most banged up team without the best replacements is the Baltimore Ravens, and that's why they're struggling a little, 59.6. So I just thought it was an interesting stat. If any of our stat geeks out there want to look that up, it's called the Banged Up score. So I just thought that was interesting.
That's fascinating.
Speaking of fascinating, Thursday, Dave, 2 days from now when I'm recording, starts the first of 27 days in a row. Football is on television between college and pros. They're going to you'll have a game every night for 27 days. Give me the over under on how many of those 27 days you'll watch football. I mean, World Series is coming up. Well, we'll probably both watch the World Series, right?
So 27 days.
Yeah. It's just going to be hard to get me fired for a Wednesday night action in college football, but I'm just curious. There's no wrong answer.
15, and that's probably high.
Okay, that's fair. I have a little more time on my hands, so probably more like 18 to 20 for me. But I'm getting into the NBA again. That will certainly get some of my attention. But real quick, I've been meaning to share this, so I just want to get it off my plate, and then we'll wrap it up.
Sounds good.
The ratings. Not this past Sunday, but 2 Sundays ago, we had the Giants, Jets, Eagles, Yankees, and the Bills all playing in the New York market
Yep.
at on the same day.
Right. Giants were at home, Bills on the road, Jets on the road, and Yankees at home, right? This is game
and the Eagles.
And the Eagles at home.
Who do you think won the day ratings wise in the New York market? Those 5 options.
Oh, well, the Yankees would have been on TBS, right?
Yep.
Geez, the Jets were playing against Green Bay on Fox.
I think that was you guys had Kansas City.
Oh, Philly. Yeah. Well, yeah. So I mean, it could be the Bills. If it's not, I would say the Eagles.
It was the Bills. 1.45 million people watched the Bills. Then the Yankees at 1.19. Then the Giants at 1.17. So right there with the Yankees.
Yeah.
I think they played at different times. Eagles were 4th at 8.19 thousand. And the Jets had 214,000.
Oh my God.
So the Jets, even though they're playing well,
yeah,
still, the little brother in the New York market for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Dave, tell us where the good folks here can find us and where they can like and subscribe and do all those things, would you?
Oh, I will. Just one more thing.
Unless you have something. Yeah.
Where were the New York Mets in that?
Playing with their sisters. I don't know.
Playing golf. Okay. I just checking. But yeah, folks. So that's a wrap on our oh my goodness. That's a wrap on our week 7 recap here of the NFL. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoy us out there on YouTube. We'd love to see you subscribe to our channel and continue to watch us and listen, of course, on Anchor and Spotify and Apple and wherever you get your podcasts. We're out there for your consumption and welcome your comments and feedback as always. Here at Think Tank Sports, where we think and you listen as we strive for 5.